Collecting wild berries is a favorite pastime here in Alaska. Some people pick berries for fun, family tradition, or to spend some time in the outdoors. Regardless of whatever reason you choose to pick berries, you'll end up with fresh, wholesome, tasty, and nutritious food that your family will love. This lesson will help you to decide what berries are available, where to look for them, and what to do with them once they're picked. First, let's look at what you need to take with you when you go. You'll need to take shallow berry containers with lids. If the containers are too large, berries on the bottom are crushed by the weight of those on top. You'll have berries and juice. You'll need a cooler to keep berries cool on the trip home. Then you'll need to take things that make you comfortable while you pick. Take boots to protect your feet, a jacket to keep you warm and dry, and water to drink. Pack all these items in your backpack along with insect repellent. The insects are particularly pesky during berry season. Remember to pick a combination of ripe and underripe berries, particularly if you're making gelled products. Underripe berries have a higher level of pectin and will ensure that jellies, jams, and other gelled products thicken properly. Berries ripen differently depending on the weather during any certain year. Cooler temperatures or heavy rains, or even lots of sunshine, can hasten or slow the ripening process. Here's a general calendar of the order that berries ripen. Usually the first berries to ripen are the wild strawberry, followed by raspberries, black currants, red currants, cloudberries, salmon berries, blueberries, highbush cranberries, nagoon berries, service berries, crowberries, and lingonberries. Most berries are best when picked at the height of their ripeness during the summer, though some berries, such as lowbush cranberries, crowberries, and rosehips, may be picked after the frost. This is a matter of personal choice, as some people feel that these berries are sweeter after the frost. Though we often want to wait on the frost to pick highbush cranberries, they actually have a better flavor in the late summer before the frost. Another thing to keep in mind while you're berry picking is to keep watch for wildlife.
Hey, bear!
Remember that bears
Bear's
like berries
coming
too,
through!
and a watchful eye is very important when you're in the berry
Bear!
patch. Make some noise as you go through the woods. Most wildlife will scurry out of your way if they see or hear you coming. Sing, talk, or yell to make sure you don't surprise a bear. So where do you look for berries? Many berry pickers won't tell you where their favorite picking places are. But here's some general information about where to look. Look for areas where the ground has recently been disturbed for building, or maybe a fire has recently occurred. There's a natural progression that occurs when wildfire occurs. When the fire burns off the brush and trees, the berries returning are often the first step in the reforestation. For this reason, look for areas of recent burns first. Check out the edges of the road for favorites like raspberries, and bogs for those berries that like their feet wet, and high south-facing sunny slopes. Each berry has a different habitat, so let's take a quick look at the 10 most sought-after berries in Alaska and describe their habitat. Blueberries grow on an erect shrub up to 2 feet high. The leaves are small and oval-shaped. There are 3 main types of blueberries here in Alaska. The bog blueberry grows in the bogs, woodlands, and wet and dry tundra up into the alpine areas. Flowers are bell-shaped and light pink. Early blueberries are found in the moist coastal forests and meadows. The Alaska blueberry grows on a shrub, upright to 6 feet tall, in the southeast and in south central. Look for the dark fruit that has a whitish bloom on the surface. Crowberries. The crowberry looks similar to the blueberry, but the plant has almost juniper-like needles. It grows in woods, bogs, wet and dry tundra. The shrub is a low trailing evergreen that forms mats on the ground. The leaves are small, narrow, and needle-like. It's found throughout Alaska on the alpine muskeg of southeastern Alaska, north to Yakutat and west to Kodiak, on the Alaska Peninsula and the Aleutian Islands, and on the tundra throughout interior Alaska north to the Arctic. Currants have both red and black varieties. Red currants are 1.5 to 5 feet high, with reddish-brown shredding bark on the twigs. Leaves are 3 to 5 lobed and toothed. They grow in moist woodlands and clearings. The black currant grows in southeastern Alaska, north to Skagway and Yakutat, on the Kenai, and in central Alaska. It grows in woods and rocky outcroppings up into the alpine. Highbush cranberries grow on a shrub up to 8 feet high with slender gray branches. Leaves are almost maple leaf-like, either shallowly 3-lobed or not lobed at all, with the edges coarsely toothed. It grows in woods and meadows from lowlands into the alpine. The highbush cranberry has a distinctive musty odor and flavor. The fruit has a single cream-colored disc-shaped seed. Lingonberries, or lowbush cranberries, grow on an evergreen vine that has small, thick, oval leaves with a whitish underneath and edges that roll under. This is a very small plant that's usually less than 6 inches tall. It grows in tufts or in hummocks and can be found in bogs, woods, and dry tundra. The stems are very slender, creeping through the moss and rooting. Nagoon berries are another short plant that's only 5 to 6 inches tall. The plant is erect, arising from spreading underground rootstock. Each leaf has 3-toothed leaflets and coarse veins. It's found in damp or woody places in the coastal and interior Alaska. It's found on wet coastal districts of southeastern Alaska, the Gulf of Alaska, the Alaska Peninsula, and the Bering Sea. Raspberries tend to grow in clearings, dry meadows in the edges of woods, about 2 to 4 feet high. Leaves are 3 to 5 leaflets with whitish hairy underneath and margins irregularly toothed. The raspberry looks very similar to those that are grown commercially, with small drupes and fine white hairs. Salmonberries grow on a shrub from 1.5 to 7 feet tall. The stem is woody and the bark is yellowish brown. Be careful when picking because shrubs may have some prickles. Leaves have 3 to 5 leaflets. The fruit is similar to raspberries in appearance, but is usually larger and may vary from yellow to dark red. Serviceberries grow on a shrub or a tree from 6 to 16 feet tall. Leaves are 1 to 2 inches long with toothed edges and thin prominent veins. They grow in dry, exposed areas from sea level up to subalpine. It grows in thickets and borders of woods. Wild strawberries look very much like regular strawberries, but the plants aren't as large or robust as commercial strawberries. Leaves are on long, slender stalks, and there are 3 leaves in a group, with margins sharply and deeply toothed. Fruit is oval and small, up to 1 inch long. More berries will be shown at the end of the module.
Okay, now the berries have been picked, what do we do with those berries for long and short-term storage? As soon as you get home, refrigerate the berries or keep them in the cooler to keep them fresh until you're able to process them. Remember that more nutrients are preserved when you process the berries quickly, so aim to get them in the refrigerator or freezer the same day that they were picked. Next, we'll move on to equipment.
Cleaning and preparing berries for storage is a simple process. You'll need a cutting board or a cookie sheet, a towel, plastic freezer containers, freezer bags, and a marker. Berries should be cleaned as soon as possible. It is not necessary to wash them unless they were growing near a road or populated area where there is a danger of dust or other impurities. Clean the berries by wrapping a towel around a board or cookie sheet, elevating one end, and rolling the berries down the surface. Leaves and other debris will stick to the towel. Prop or hold the board at a fairly low angle so you don't bruise the berries. Gentle rolling is the key to removing the debris but not harming the berries. We'll be back when we finish cleaning these berries.
Now that the berries are cleaned, they are ready to store by freezing, drying, or canning. We'll be referring to Alaska's wild berries for specific information on how to preserve your berries. So let's talk about freezing. One of the most popular ways to save your berries is to freeze them. Berries may be packed with syrup, sugar, or dry packed. Work in small quantities. This will prevent loss of quality and nutrients. Most berries have a better texture and flavor if packed in sugar or syrup. However, the sugar is not necessary to safely preserve the fruit. If you are watching your sugar intake, choose to do a dry pack. The type of pack you choose should be based on the intended use. Those packed in syrup are great for uncooked desserts. Those dry packed or packed in sugar are best for cooking purposes, since there is less liquid in the product. So, You'll need berries, sugar, water, bowls or containers, freezer containers or bags, spoons, and a marker for labeling. When preparing berries, don't use galvanized, copper, or iron equipment. The acid in the berries could react with the metals, forming off flavors. There is a difference in plastic storage bags. The freezer bags are considerably thicker than storage bags. Always choose the freezer thickness to protect your product from freezer burn. If you can only get the thinner bags, use 2 bags for extra protection. Next, we'll discuss packing berries in syrup.
A syrup pack is a good way to preserve berries that are to be eaten uncooked. The proportion of sugar to water depends on the sweetness of the berries. For most of our Alaska berries, we recommend a medium syrup. Mix and dissolve 2½ cups sugar in 4 cups of water. It's easiest to dissolve the sugar in lukewarm water, but then chill the syrup before using. Warm syrup will deteriorate the berries. You'll need 1 cup of syrup for 4 cups of prepared berries. Put berries in the container and pour syrup over until the berries are covered, leaving 1-inch headspace. Seal tightly. Label with the berry name, amount, and date. Get the berries in the freezer quickly to preserve both the quality and the flavor.
A sugar pack is a good way to freeze berries that are to be cooked. Sprinkle 1/2 cup sugar over 4 cups of berries. You can mix gently until the juice is drawn out and the sugar dissolves. But with delicate berries such as raspberries, it's easiest to layer the sugar in the berries and then let them stand for 15 minutes. Don't stir the berries, they will deteriorate. You can see the difference between the berries that have just been sprinkled with sugar and these that have been sitting. Fill pint or quart-size freezer bags 3 to 4 inches from their tops. Squeeze out the air and seal tightly. Label with the berry name, the amount, and the date. Now they're ready for freezing. Next, let's talk about how to dry pack.
A dry pack is a good way to freeze whole fruits that give a good quality product without sugar. We recommend this method for raspberries and strawberries. Place dry, fresh berries in plastic freezer bags or containers. Seal tightly and label containers. Berries frozen in this manner may need to be used in recipes where whole, separated berries are not important. To keep whole berries separated, spread the fruit on a cookie sheet. Freeze until hard, and then transfer to bags or containers. This will keep berries frozen individually, so they are easier to use a few at a time. That's it for freezing. We'll be back in a minute to can berries.
Berries are high in acid, so are safely canned in the boiling water canner. The best source of instructions for home canning are available from the USDA and the Cooperative Extension Service, University of Alaska Fairbanks. You'll need a boiling water canner or similar large pot, a large spoon, a jar lifter, a magnetic lid lifter, a ladle, a canning funnel, jars, 2-piece lids, clean towels or paper towels, and clean hot pads. To begin canning, wash jars and prepare lids according to manufacturer's directions. Jars should be clean, but it isn't necessary to sterilize them if they are processed for at least 10 minutes. Berries may be covered with your choice of apple or white grape juice, syrup, or water. A hot or a raw pack may be used. Let's go through each method. For a hot pack method, place berries in a boiling syrup, juice, or water and boil for 30 seconds. Fill clean jars with the hot berries and the juice or syrup, leaving 1/2 inch head space. Wipe the edge of the jar with a clean paper towel or cotton towel and attach prepared lids and rings. Hand tighten and then process in a boiling water canner. Fill your canner with hot water and preheat to 180 degrees Fahrenheit. 140 degrees Fahrenheit for raw packs. Load hot filled jars into the canner, making sure that the jars have at least 1 inch of water over the top of the jars. Add hot water if needed. Cover with canner lid. When the water boils vigorously, lower heat to maintain a gentle, steady boil. Then start the timer for the recommended processing time. Half pints, pints, or quarts, when hot packed, are processed for 15 minutes. For raw pack, process the pints for 15 minutes. When processing quarts, using the raw pack method, process for 20 minutes. If you need additional information on hot water processing, refer to our module for specific information.
After processing time is completed, remove jars from the canner with a lid lifter and place on a towel or rack. Do not retighten rings. Air cool jars for 12 to 24 hours and then check seals. An indented top indicates sealing. Use a spoon and tap gently on the lid. A clear ringing sound indicates a sealed jar, while a dull thud tells us it hasn't sealed. Label jars and store them in a clean, cool, dark place. If the lid did not seal, the jar may be reprocessed using a fresh lid, or it can be refrigerated and used immediately. Or the headspace can be adjusted to 1 inch and the product can be frozen. Berries are best if consumed within 1 year and safe as long as lids remain vacuum sealed. Let's take a look at other berries that you may find during your berry picking outings.
As with many wild products, the production of berries is dependent on the weather, rainfall, and even the presence of insects. So 1 year there may be an abundance of blueberries, and the next there may be none.
Ask your friends and neighbors about the berries they've seen, and you'll know what to plan for each year. Whether you find lots of berries or just a few, berry picking is always a great way to see the beautiful Alaskan countryside, get some exercise, and some good fresh air. Happy picking!